Welcome. My name is Natalia Griffin. I'm a fertility hypnotherapist, ectopic pregnancy survivor, and the founder of Her World Hypnosis, where I'm radically supporting women to the journey and through the journey of motherhood. Today, we're going to focus the conversation around building lifelong healthy habits rapidly with hypnotherapy. Today, I have on Brittanie. She is a boy mom, entrepreneur, health coach, and student. She is a busy woman. I'm so glad that you responded openly to coming on with me today and discussing a little bit about your journey in hypnotherapy. Thank you for being here, Brittanie.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So the most that I've asked clients for is a testimonial. And you are the first client that I've invited on to have a conversation and elaborate on their experience in hypnosis. And I just really, really am grateful and thank you for coming on and being open to this, because I think and believe that it's these conversations that truly make an impact on reconditioning the public around what hypnotherapy is and how incredibly powerful it is. So I think that your personal transformation has such an important message for all women, most women, and whether it relates to inside of the fertility journey or outside of the fertility journey. It's an awesome story of transformation. So let's back up and tell me a little bit about your life. Where are you in the world?
Well, like you said, I have two little boys. They're 6 and 7, and this was the first year, or I guess last year was the first year that they were in school full time, and I decided that I wanted to go back to school. Nutrition and like a more holistic approach to health has always been really interesting to me, and I think there's a lot of power in it, but it's also not a lot of people understand how making dietary lifestyle changes can really impact their overall well-being. And so that was a huge driving factor for me. I wanted to be able to help educate other women, especially, and live a more optimal lifestyle. And with the boys back in school, I thought, hey, now would be a great time to go back to school. I had extra time on my hands. So that kind of opened me up to reaching out to you, because I was nervous that I was going to fail at this new adventure.
That's right. And so, as you know already, that hypnosis is simply guided meditation with a goal.
Yeah.
And as you know, it's now on the other side of your journey in hypnosis. It's a very effective, rapid way to reach that goal and transformation in your life that you were seeking. So it was October 2022 that we started working
Yes.
together. So almost nearly a year ago.
Yeah. And it's crazy how much you've impacted my life and helped me just to make the small changes that I knew I needed to make. And I'm so grateful for it, because it was something that I've struggled with for like my entire life. And it was hard for me to even acknowledge what I really needed to work on.
How is it hard to acknowledge it? Was it the clarity part or which part?
I think the hardest part was that I didn't even truly understand. It wasn't until I reached out to you and we did our one-on-one consultation, and I was kind of walking you through like what I wanted to do. And my whole goal of reaching out to you and working on myself was that I wanted to be able to finish school. I was afraid that if I failed at something or something didn't go right, that I would just give up, because that's what has happened in my past. And
And that was your
this was
pattern.
something, yeah. And this was something that was really important to me and something I was really passionate about. And so I wanted to be as successful as I could. And I remember vividly, like at the end of our phone call, I had told you like I wanted to work on making sure I could finish school. And you took away from that phone call, you were like, we need to work on your need for perfectionism. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had gone to a lecture the next day, and it was like so kismet. It was just meant to be. But the whole lecture was on perfectionism and how inhibiting it was, like how much it can paralyze you and give you anxiety, and how that need for perfectionism is really just setting you up for failure. And as soon as I was listening to this lecture and she started talking about all this stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, Natalia was spot on. Like, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to work on. And so I'm so grateful for your insight and like understanding, even though I rambled on about school and all this stuff, you really knew what I needed. And yeah, I'm really grateful for that. And you listening and really understanding what, even though I wasn't aware of what I really needed to work on, that was really
And that
impacting my life.
and that's the story of most people that seek hypnotherapy. They come to a hypnotherapist and they say, this is the issue. I am self-sabotaging school, or I'm just not
Mm-hmm.
motivated to do my schoolwork. I want to work on motivation to do my schoolwork so I actually finish. But that's just a symptom.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about in the past is if you think about a tree, it has limbs, it has trunks, and it has roots.
Mm-hmm.
Your fear around not being able to finish school because of motivation is a symptom of something much
Mm-hmm.
deeper. And so that perfectionism was more of a trunk issue. And what we discovered was something deeper.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
by solving the root cause of perfectionism, but then by
Mm-hmm.
healing that perfectionism, we were able to resolve the limb issues, which probably also stemmed out to other limb issues in your life that just resolved with
Yes.
us not even having to touch it.
Yes.
So let's dive into that. So, Brittanie, you and I have worked together over the last year on a couple different goals,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you get into that. But what I loved about working with you is that you get it. So you clearly understand that you don't need to stay where you are currently at and needlessly suffer and grind and white knuckle your way through. You
Mm-hmm.
get that your mind is the key. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and you also understand how you can use hypnotherapy as your vehicle to get where you want to go in these mild areas of your life that are causing you discomfort. And so some of my clients work with me, let's say on a fertility type issue. And then, after our sessions together, I'm catching up with them and they're like, yeah, I'm just really just struggling with insomnia right now. I'm like, you're struggling with something, that means that it can be supported with your inner mind. There's a reason
Mm-hmm.
for your insomnia. Let's work on it. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I have to help clients connect the dots that really, for anything that you're struggling in your life, hypnotherapy can support you through it. And I never had to connect those dots with. You just got it. And so you
Yeah.
clearly understood that you can use a hypnotherapist with a specific goal in your life
Mm-hmm.
to achieve it. So you can just stop the madness,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yes.
So let's back up to October last year. This is before you were a hypnosis fan. Tell me what life was like.
Oh my gosh. Obviously, like, I'm very blessed with my kids, my husband, and we have a great relationship, but I struggled daily with anxiety, and sometimes it was so debilitating I wouldn't be able to do anything. I wouldn't be able to be productive at all, and I felt like I was missing out on time with my kids. I wasn't being as present, or I was snapping more at them, or my patience were wearing really thin. And here I was taking on putting more on my plate with school, and I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I had this block tied to my feet, and someone threw me in the deep end, and I couldn't get air if
Yeah.
my life depended on it.
Yeah.
It was really kind of a wake-up call for me to be like, while this is something, anxiety's always been something I've dealt with my entire life, and I know it's hindered me in a lot of areas. It was a time in my life where I realized I need help, and I needed to ask for help, and that was okay. And I had been following you for a while. My sister-in-law introduced me to you on social media, and I saw all the things you talked about and how hypnosis could help, and how it was almost more effective than like talk therapy, which I love therapy. I'm in therapy. I think it's amazing and everyone should do some sort of therapy. But I want to change, and I want to change quickly, because I couldn't wait six months or 7 months for this to kick in. I was in school now. I had responsibilities that I was letting go of, and I just needed help. It was hard for me to do day-to-day activities,
Mm,
clean the house, get my
mhm.
studying done, grocery shop, prep, meal plan, like take care of my family. And those are really important things to me. So that's why I decided I needed to ask for
Mhm.
help.
And so at the time when you were like, okay, I need help, you had a consultation with me and you realized, okay, this is perfectionism at some sort of
Mhm.
root, like we're dealing with, because I remember a lot of what you were struggling was quite debilitating.
Mhm.
If you set out in the day, like, okay, I want to accomplish A, B, C, and D, if
Mhm.
A was delayed an hour, you would just
Mhm.
throw out the entire day.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I I got into this habit of like starting something, and the smallest thing wouldn't go perfect, and it would just debilitate me. I couldn't move forward. And it could be as small as like my to-do list. I like didn't write it out the right way, or it didn't look perfect, or it wasn't in the right order. And so I'd start all over again. Or it was something as big as school, where it was like I failed this test, or I didn't get the grade that I wanted to on this test. And well, I should just, what's the point? I've already messed up. Why move forward?
So in the United States right now, anxiety and depression is at an all-time high. So there are women listening right now that can totally relate to your experience pre-hypnosis. So this is what I mean about Brittanie getting it. She pinpointed a specific problem in her life. She said, this is causing me a lot of headaches. I feel stuck. So she became incredibly self-aware in this moment. And then the stars kind of aligned. She met me. She got confirmation the next day at that conference where it validated we needed to start with perfectionism. So tell me a little bit about your old morning habits.
Oh my gosh. Well, I couldn't get myself out of bed. It got to the point where I wasn't moving my body at all. That just kind of led me down a spiral where I wasn't moving my body, I wasn't taking care of myself, and my anxiety just kept getting worse and worse. And it just got to the point where it was hard for me to get out of bed most days. Like we were late to school, I don't know, I would have like a hard time waking up and getting myself ready. Like there would be a couple days where I'd go without showering, and it was such a low point in my adult life, especially after having children. And it was really hard.
And I mean, you're in the health space, and so you consciously know how important these three spheres of the human are: the body,
Mhm.
the mind, and the spirit. And if you're not
Mhm.
taking care of the body with nutritional support and moving your body, it does affect the mind. And vice
Yeah.
versa, the mind does affect what you do, which is what you
Mhm.
experienced with kind of ultimately transforming your morning habits. So,
Yeah.
what are your morning habits? Tell me what your morning habits are like now.
So post hypnotherapy, I wake up when my alarm goes off, and I get ready. I have my water with lemon, and then I go downstairs and I get on the treadmill, and I do 30 minutes of incline walking. And my goal is to do 30 minutes of walking and 30 minutes of weight training. But right now, I'm okay with just at least walking. Like it doesn't have to be all or nothing for me anymore, which is so huge because it used to be like, well, shoot, now I only have 30 minutes. And if I only have 30 minutes, then I can't do the walking and I can't do the weight. So what's the point of even walking? And now I'm so okay with just being like, oh, I only have 30 minutes. Okay, well, I'm going to get on the treadmill and I'm going to walk at least, because I just know that my body needs that movement. And instead of feeling like I failed because I didn't get everything in that I wanted, I can like look at it and be proud of what I accomplished. I got out of bed and I moved my body. And that's huge for me. It sets the precedent for the day and how I can get things accomplished when I just start my mornings off right. It's that one positive step in the morning that sets myself up for success for that day.
Quite literally, a positive
Yeah.
step towards the whole entire day.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so if you can share one of the most impactful things that you experienced or a takeaway from our time together on either or goal that we've worked together on.
I think the biggest takeaway, I kind of have two of them, but I remember during one of my sessions, you were asking me some questions and I said, yeah, I'm trying. And you said, don't use that word. And I said, what? Like, I was kind of confused. And you're like, don't use trying, because trying sets your mind up for failure, because it allows your mind to not be fully invested in it. And
Consider
instead
the
use the
option.
word,
Mhm.
yeah. And instead it use the word working. And so I have been so conscious of using that word when I talk about myself, when I talk to my kids even, and they're like, well, I'm trying this. I'm like, no, we're working on it, or we're working towards it, because words are so powerful and your mindset is so powerful. And it's all about using the right words and talking to yourself in a positive way. And so that was a huge takeaway for me. And then the other takeaway was making one small step at a time, or taking one small step at a time. Like, you don't have to dive in head first day one, work out for an hour, eat extremely clean all day long. Like, and then that one step leads to more. And
Mhm.
so I constantly am reminding myself to take one step, just take one step.
And one step is a new beginning. Like you can, doesn't have to be the next morning at 6 a.m. to start over. It can
Mm-hmm.
be 2:53 on a Wednesday, and you're like, okay, this
Yeah,
next step is the next step, and it's going to be different.
exactly.
So a lot of people chalk up, oh, this is just a terrible day. This is a bad day. And I often suggest to them, okay, or is it a bad moment?
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment you say, okay, this is a bad moment rather than a bad day entirely, it opens you up to having a different experience for the rest of the day. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the biggest focuses that you and I worked on as a former perfectionist is progress over perfection.
Right.
And I feel like that is the biggest transformation that you've experienced through this whole journey is
Mm-hmm.
allowing yourself to make a baby step and reclaiming that step as the new beginning. And so, Brittanie, in your experience, your own personal experience, for those people listening right now who are like, really, hypnosis? Like, what? How would you describe your experience when you drop into hypnosis? If you were talking to someone that is still in the old programming of pocket watches and clucking like chickens, how would you describe it?
Um, I always get this very light, relaxed feeling. And a lot of the times I'm still conscious, like I still am pretty aware of what's going on. It's just like my mind slows down and body feels heavy and light at the same time. Heavy in
Mhm.
the sense of like I've completely relaxed and it's just kind of in a relaxed state, but also like this light feeling in the sense I can breathe easier.
Mm.
It's warm and inviting, and it's really freeing to open your mind like that and know that you're working towards a goal and that you're taking those steps.
And so, if someone is listening right now and struggling with a specific thing in their life that's causing them a lot of suffering, what would you say about how to change? What is the most important thing on lasting
Mm.
transformation? What's the key piece?
Look at what, like you said, is it a symptom or is it a root? I think that's the big thing, because I was looking at my symptoms versus what was really going on with the root cause of things. But just taking that small step, whether it's looking deeper and truly understanding, like, okay, it's not my anxiety, it's the fact that I struggle with the need for everything to be perfect, or reaching out for someone to help you.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I just say take a small step, because that small step is going to get you to your goal.
And what would you say you've learned about your own mind in this process
Oh
and
my
the power of
gosh.
it?
Yeah, it's so powerful. It's incredible how much influence your mind has over your day to day, your ability to enjoy life, enjoy the little things, appreciate the little things. Your mind is so powerful. When you don't acknowledge that, I feel like anytime you try to make a change, you're going to be working against your mind. And if you're not open to like changing your mindset, you're just going to be like hitting this rock wall every single time. And you're not going to get as far as if you really acknowledge how powerful your mindset and what you tell yourself, your words that you use are to your change, especially if you want it to be a lasting change.
Tell me about your life now.
I mean,
How would you describe your life now?
not everything's perfect, and that's okay. And yeah, and there are times where I've like caught myself in this like, okay, I start cleaning, and instead of just taking 20 minutes to pick up the whole house, have this urge to deep clean, and I really like, it's not clean until I've scrubbed every square inch of the house, and something always catches me, and it's like, okay, take a step back. You have 20 minutes. Just pick up and be happy and proud of yourself for doing that. I still struggle with anxiety, but it's not so debilitating that I'm in this paralyzed spot.
Okay, let's say when we started working together on a scale of 1 to 10, where was your anxiety before we started working together?
Some days it was like a 12, like
Okay. And
sick to my stomach.
on the average now, where would you say the feelings of anxiety are?
Like a 4.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's a big improvement.
You don't have to live your life like that. And why do you want to? There's
Exactly.
help out
Exactly.
there.
Brittanie, thank you so much for coming on with me. I
Of
think that
course.
this conversation alone is going to help a lot of people who have similar struggles of what you experience and are going to be inspired about the steps that you made and the transformation that you arrived at. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course. Of course. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. To get started with hypnotherapy for fertility for free for the next 7 days, visit herworldhypnosis.com and go under the Pathway membership to start streaming 7 days for free. To schedule a consult for your deep dive, visit herworldhypnosis.com and visit private sessions to schedule your free consult with me. Alternatively, you can also find me on all social media handles at Her World Hypnosis. Thank you for tuning in.